Okay, so have you ever like scrolled through a dating app and kind of felt that pang of self-doubt?
Yeah.
Like maybe you don't quite fit the mold of what's considered attractive.
Yeah.
You're definitely not alone if you have.
No.
Like today, we're going on a deep dive
Mm.
into a Reddit thread where people who identify as unattractive,
Okay.
they share their dating experiences.
Wow.
And let me tell you, it gets real
hmm
and raw and surprisingly really insightful.
Yeah, I think what's really interesting about this thread is how it kind of unveils the vulnerability that so many people feel when they're navigating the dating world,
Right.
especially when appearance becomes like such a huge factor.
Yeah.
I think it really underscores just how deeply self-perception and societal beauty standards can like impact our dating journeys.
Totally. It definitely makes you think.
Yeah,
And that's what we're here for today.
exactly.
So to understand these really unique challenges
Yes.
and maybe uncover some truths about dating and self-perception and how those beauty standards we just talked about, how they play a role in it all.
Absolutely. So let's just dive right in, I guess,
Oh.
into some of the recurring kind of themes that emerged from this Reddit thread.
Yeah?
And one of the most striking ones was just the sheer difficulty in like securing a first date. Like many commenters talked about just feeling invisible or overlooked, almost like they're not even in the running.
It's tough. Yeah, and one commenter was just like straight up, like not getting a date.
Oh,
Like that
wow.
was their whole comment.
Wow.
And then another commenter was like, yeah, I was about to say you guys are getting dates.
Ooh.
Like almost surprised
Yeah.
that anyone's even getting a chance.
Yeah, and I think, this really kind of speaks volumes about just the power of first impressions,
Right.
which are, undeniably influenced by those visual cues.
Yeah.
And we live in a society with very narrow beauty standards.
Right.
And unfortunately, that can make it feel like you're starting at a disadvantage, like before you even have a chance to like show your personality.
Yeah. It's tough to hear, honestly. Like you're already facing like this internal struggle with self-image,
Right.
and then the dating world kind of throws it right back in your face. It can create this like vicious cycle.
Exactly. And that cycle can be, really tough to break because that constant rejection,
Mm-hmm.
it just chips away at your self-esteem.
Right.
And then it leads to just, those feelings of inadequacy.
Right.
And it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like if you believe you're not attractive, you might act in ways that reinforce that belief,
Exactly.
which can lead to, even more rejection.
Right. It's like you start to believe you don't even deserve love or connection at that point.
Yeah.
Okay. So let's talk about dating apps for a minute. Have you ever felt that pressure, like to present yourself visually
Oh, yeah.
on those platforms?
Yeah, for sure. I think the rise of dating apps definitely added like another layer of complexity to this whole thing
Yeah.
because they are designed to, they're designed to showcase your appearance,
Yeah.
which can feel daunting for anyone,
Yeah.
but especially for those who don't fit that conventional mold.
Totally. Yeah. One commenter said, try and get on a dating app, realize you need to post pictures of yourself,
Right.
feel ugly just looking at yourself. So never mind.
Wow.
Like they're already defeated
Yeah.
before they even start.
Yeah, and I think that feeling is just amplified by that, constant comparison that comes with those apps.
Oh, for sure.
You're constantly bombarded by images of people who just like effortlessly
Yeah.
seem to meet those beauty standards, right?
Right.
And it's easy to feel inadequate and start questioning your own self-worth.
Oh, yeah. But then you have these like moments of brilliance that pop up in the thread.
Yeah.
Like one commenter suggested posting your worst pictures
Oh,
just to kind of like manage expectations
okay.
and pleasantly surprise potential dates.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
That's a good strategy.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like playing on that element of surprise.
Right.
And it allows your personality to kind of shine through.
Totally.
It reminds me of the commenter who tried to upload a Power Ranger cosplay photo,
Oh, yeah.
but got flagged for copyright violation.
I remember that.
Poor guy.
I know. It's almost comical, but it also like highlights that even in this like often intense world of dating, there's still room for like humor and these unexpected moments of connection.
Totally, yeah. And speaking of unexpected, another theme that kept popping up was this feeling of being held to a higher standard than those deemed conventionally attractive.
Okay, yeah. Several commenters talked about feeling like they needed to overcompensate
Mm.
in other areas, like to make up for their looks. One person said, being held to a far higher standard than attractive people. You have to be near perfect in everything, non-appearance-wise,
Wow.
to get the same treatment as an attractive person who puts in, like, even lackluster effort.
Yeah, and this actually touches upon what's called the halo effect,
Oh,
which basically means, to put it simply, we tend to like associate positive qualities with people that we find physically attractive,
okay.
right? So the flip side of that is those deemed less attractive, they face, harsher judgments,
Makes sense.
and they have to work harder to prove their worth.
Yeah, it's like an unconscious bias
Yeah.
that we all need to be more aware of, right?
Right.
It's not fair, but it's a reality for a lot of people, navigating the dating scene.
For sure.
Like one commenter even shared a personal experience
Yeah.
about their ex who held them to this like unrealistic standard compared to previous partners, just because of their appearance.
Wow. Yeah. And those double standards can be incredibly damaging. Yeah. To someone's self-esteem.
Right.
And they really perpetuate a system where outward appearance plays an outsized role in how we like judge and treat each other.
Totally. It's definitely something to reflect on. So we've touched on some of the external challenges.
All right.
But let's dive into the emotional toll now
Okay.
that this whole experience can take on people.
Yeah.
So rejection is obviously a part of the game.
Yeah.
But for those already grappling with those, self-image issues, it seems to cut much deeper.
Absolutely. And one commenter even they admitted to like being cheated on
Oh, wow.
and then rationalizing it because they didn't believe anyone else would ever want them.
It's heartbreaking to read these stories. Like, they've internalized those negative messages
Yeah.
and allowed them to, like, define their whole sense of self-worth.
Right. It's just a stark reminder of how deeply those societal expectations and personal insecurities can like intertwine,
Yeah.
and it can lead to a distorted sense of self. And sadly, this feeling of unworthiness, it can really permeate many aspects of life, not just romantic relationships.
Totally. It's like this constant feeling of not being good enough.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just incredibly damaging to your emotional well-being.
Right.
But amidst all these, challenging stories, there are also some, glimmers of hope.
Yeah, absolutely.
example.
One commenter mentioned finding solace in dating fellow Ugos,
Ugo.
which was their term for unattractive people.
Okay.
And they discovered a sense of like shared understanding and acceptance within that community.
It's amazing how, like, finding your tribe can make such a difference.
Totally.
Right.
Yeah.
It's about, like, creating a space where those conventional beauty standards don't hold as much power.
Right.
And feeling seen for who you truly are.
I think it highlights the importance of, seeking out those who value those inner qualities over those superficial appearances, creating connections based on genuine compatibility, shared values.
Because at the end of the day, that's what truly matters.
Totally.
But it's also important to acknowledge that this issue goes beyond, like, just finding romantic partners.
Right.
Right. It's about demanding basic respect from everyone,
Yes.
regardless of, their attraction to you.
You hit the nail on the head. One commenter pointed out, like, while you can't force someone to be attracted to you,
Right.
you absolutely deserve respect.
Yes.
And sadly, many people who don't fit those conventional beauty standards, they experience like a lack of basic courtesy and consideration.
It's so disheartening to think that someone's appearance would, like, dictate how they're treated.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we all need to check our biases
Yeah.
and treat everyone with kindness and dignity,
Mm-hmm.
regardless of how they look.
Absolutely. It's about recognizing that attractiveness is subjective
Right.
and that reducing someone's worth to their appearance is just like dehumanizing.
Yeah.
And another commenter expresses by saying, I don't feel frustration about dating, but I feel frustration when someone disrespects unattractive women in general.
It's a powerful statement.
Yeah.
And it speaks to this, like, broader issue
Mm-hmm.
of how society often devalues those deemed less attractive.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not just, about, like, overt insults.
Right.
It's also about, like, the subtle ways in which people are overlooked or dismissed. because of their appearance.
Exactly. Like the commenter who described feeling invisible,
Yeah.
saying like no matter how kind, funny, or interesting you are, people overlook you based on looks alone.
Yeah.
And that invisibility can extend to, various aspects of life,
Totally.
impacting career opportunities, social interactions, and even familial relationships.
Right. It's a reminder that we all have a role to play in dismantling these like harmful societal norms. It's
Yes.
about challenging our own biases,
Yeah.
advocating for greater inclusivity,
Hmm.
and creating a world where everyone feels valued and respected.
Well said. Now, amidst these discussions about, societal pressures and internal struggles,
Yeah.
it's also important to recognize the self-awareness and vulnerability
Right.
that many posters exhibited in this Reddit thread.
Absolutely. Yeah. They didn't shy away from sharing their insecurities,
Right.
but they also expressed this like deep yearning for genuine connection and love.
Yeah.
One commenter shared a particularly poignant experience about going on a date
Hmm.
where the person's face visibly fell upon seeing them.
Oh, wow. That's a gut-wrenching experience.
Yep.
And it really highlights how quickly we can judge others based solely on appearance.
Yeah.
It's a reminder that we all have biases, conscious and unconscious.
Right.
And it's our responsibility to be mindful of how those biases affect our interactions with others.
It's a powerful call to action.
It is.
We may not be able to control how others perceive us,
Right.
but we can control how we react to those perceptions.
Exactly. And as we shift our focus inward,
Mm-hmm.
we can start to cultivate a stronger sense of self-love and
Okay.
self-acceptance.
One commenter offered this like practical tip that aligns with that idea. They said, if you're worried about disappointing someone with your looks, put your absolute worst pics on your profile.
Oh, okay.
That way, the only way you can surprise them is by looking better than your pictures.
I love that.
Right.
It's a brilliant way to kind of like subvert expectations.
Right.
And allow your personality to shine through.
Right.
Ultimately, it's about building those connections based on shared values and interests and, genuine affection
Right.
rather than superficial appearances.
And that's a message that that resonates with everyone,
Totally.
regardless of how they perceive their own attractiveness.
Okay.
So we've talked about the challenges, the emotional toll,
Mm-hmm.
and those glimmers of hope. But now let's dive into the power of self-love and finding connection beyond, superficiality. So it seems like in this thread, a lot of people are grappling with this feeling like of having to prove themselves
Yeah.
worthy of love and attention.
Right.
Like their appearance is somehow like a barrier
Mm-hmm.
to experiencing genuine connection.
Yeah, it's a recurring theme, and I think it speaks to just how deeply ingrained these beauty standards are in
Wow.
our society.
For sure.
One commenter said, "So many men seem to think every woman is created just for them to gawk over or for their sexual pleasure, and these seem to be the same jerks that feel the need to vocalize their opinions on whether they find you attractive or not. Either way, what comes out of their mouth will be insulting. They make things terrible for any woman. Hopefully, you don't let them get to you."
It's a stark reminder that we shouldn't seek validation
Yeah.
from people who just like reduce others to their appearance.
Right.
Their opinions say more about their own shallowness than about the person they're judging.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's about, recognizing your own inherent worth
Right.
and not allowing those narrow perspectives to like diminish your sense of self.
Yeah.
Another commenter said, think about this. People who insult someone about their body are people who need to do that to feel better with themselves. So you shouldn't care too much about what they like. You should care about how you feel with yourself, though.
That's such a crucial point. It's about shifting that focus inward
Yeah.
to self-love
Yeah.
and self-acceptance
Yeah.
rather than seeking validation from, external sources,
Right. Exactly.
especially those who aren't coming from a place of respect and kindness.
It's about recognizing that true beauty lies not in conforming to some, arbitrary standard,
Yeah.
but in embracing your unique qualities
Yeah.
and finding people who appreciate you for who you truly are.
Right. And that can be like a journey,
Right.
like unlearning those societal messages and building, genuine self-esteem. It takes time and effort.
It does.
One commenter opened up about their own like struggles with self-worth.
Yeah.
They said, I don't think I'm attractive at all. I've been married twice. The first one left me for another woman, and I just kind of accepted it because I've always believed everyone I've ever been with could have done better than me.
It's heartbreaking to hear, but it speaks to the power of those deep-seated beliefs that
Yeah.
we hold about ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like they internalize that feeling of not being good enough, even though they were clearly worthy of love and commitment.
It shows how these negative self-perceptions can almost become like a self-fulfilling prophecy,
Yeah.
affecting our relationships and our, overall well-being.
But the good news is we can challenge those beliefs.
Yeah.
We can choose to focus on our positive qualities, our strengths, and the things that make us, unique and wonderful.
As we cultivate that self-love,
Yeah.
we can start to attract people who
Well said. Ultimately, lasting relationships are built on that mutual respect, shared values, and genuine connection. And none of those things are dependent on physical appearance.
One commenter said, people always say if you're not handsome, you should be funny or interesting.
Right.
But what if I'm just like regular? Sure, I consider something funny every once in a while, but I'm not a comedian. I feel like I'm a really stable, balanced guy who is like perfect boyfriend material,
Yeah.
but often I don't get enough time to show my biggest strengths.
It's a valid point.
Yeah.
And I think we often get so caught up in trying to be like extraordinary
Yeah.
that we forget the beauty of simply being ourselves.
Right.
With all of our, imperfections and quirks.
And that authenticity is what attracts those, genuine connections.
Truly.
So what do we learn from this deep dive into the world of dating while unattractive? I think the biggest takeaway is that your worth is not defined by your appearance or by how others perceive you.
Exactly. Focus on cultivating that self-love, recognizing those, harmful societal messages,
Mm-hmm.
and finding your tribe, people who appreciate you for who you truly are inside and out.
And remember, even in a world like obsessed with looks, genuine connection is possible.
It is.
It might take more effort, more patience,
Yeah,
and a whole lot of self-love,
for sure.
but it's worth it.
And hey, if you're enjoying these deep dives into the complexities of life and relationships, we'd love for you to subscribe to Voices of the Soul
Yes.
and check out Shauna Pelage on YouTube. We love bringing these thought-provoking conversations to you.
Thanks for joining us on this journey. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and most importantly, keep loving yourselves.